Hey everyone, Mo here, and before the video begins, I just want to let you guys know that my schedule is opened up for me to do coaching again. So if you're interested in private one-on-one coaching for me to help you, whether you're a newer player and you want to excel at the game very quickly and learn the fundamentals without developing any bad habits early, or if you're an experienced player who's already maybe platinum or diamond and you're top 1%, but you need some help filling in the gap to get you to that 0.01%, to make you just some of the best, then hit me up on Discord and I can get you in some private one-on-one coaching lessons to help you polish up any skills you want to refine and help you learn all of the secrets to becoming a top player. That's it. I hope you enjoy the video. Hey everybody, Mo here, and in this video I'm bringing you guys 5 new decks that are going to be really fun to play that I'm excited to try on the new release of, I think it's like Rise of the Underworlds or something, Underworlds or Underlords and Legends of Runeterra. So I'm really excited about it. Each of these 5 decks are going to have either a brand new card or some of them are brand new champions and archetypes that we've never had before in LOR that I'm just super excited to try. They're competitive decks, they're fun decks, and I have every type of deck in here. I have an aggro deck, I have control deck, mid-range deck, I have a combo deck, and I even have an Omega just degenerate deck for all of you people that like the degenerate decks out there. So I have just about something for just about everyone. So make sure to stick around. I'll have all of the timestamps below of each deck so you know where to skip. So if you're like, oh, I'm interested in the Elnuk deck, or I'm not interested in the Ekko Deck, you know where to skip around. So before we get into the video, I did want to remind you guys that 86% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me. So if you could do me a huge favor and click the subscribe button, it helps me out so much with the YouTube algorithm. It's free, it's easy, and it really does help out more than you guys could imagine. And if you change your mind later on, you can always just unsubscribe for free, and it's easy. So that's it for the intro. I hope you guys enjoyed the decks. Alright, so for the first deck we have here is we have probably the most anticipated deck of the set, and it's just like your casual Lurk deck. This is just something that I just like threw together. It's not you know, refined at all. So I mean, like Ripper's Bait could be taken out. I just don't know if you need more ways to activate Lurk or not, or maybe you go more on the predict route. I'm not 100% sure, but this is you just have Lurk. It's very standard. You just roleplay, type in Lurk in the search bar, put all the Lurk cards in, and deck pretty much builds itself. I think all the units are pretty much standard. The only thing outside of that is you just put in, like, if you want to go more of a like a predict route, or more of a like aggro route with things like Shapestone and combat tricks and stuff like that. So I would probably do just whatever ends up being the most popular. I'd wait a couple days. You could craft all of the units, like if you have very limited crafting, and you don't have some of these like spells and the landmarks, I'd go ahead and just craft all the units for sure, and then just wait a couple days and see like what ends up being the best if people decide to go more heavy on the combat tricks or more heavy on the predict spells to set up. So outside of that, I mean, Lurk's brand new archetype is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be something I'm going to be playing a lot of day one as far as testing. I don't know like how good it is. I'm sure it'll take a couple days to get fully refined, maybe even like a week or two. So don't judge it based off of just day one. But yeah, it'll be very exciting to see how it ends up doing. The next deck I have is one that I'm actually like super interested in trying. I watched a lot of BBG play a deck like this on the like pre-release, like where the LPP streamers got to play the new cards like the day before they actually came out, and he was having a lot of success on Ekko Zilean. It looked a lot of fun to play this like mid-rangey, slow style deck with like Zilean, Ekko to end it off. Predict makes all of your draws super consistent, so you consistently can make yourself have really good draws and really good top ends. You're not like top decking these like drop borders in the late game, because half of your cards help you set up your draws and the other half are just pure bangers. If Zilean ever levels, you kind of just win the game. If Ekko levels, you're kind of just big chillin'. And it's really good. It's a really good answer if people start playing Karma Ezreal. I saw him just destroy that. Its biggest problem is going to be some type of like aggro style deck though. So we'll see if Pirates or something else aggro comes back, or discard aggro just starts dominating the meta some more. If not, I think this has a really good contender to be one of the best mid-range decks. So it'll be a lot interesting. So if you're into like mid-range style decks, this is for you. Another deck I have for you if you're into mid-range style decks is going to be an Elnuk Concurrent Timelines deck. This one's a little bit more on the meme side instead of the competitive side. ELNUKS, I think, is for sure going to be competitive. We just have to figure out the exact build for it. I think it's going to be some type of PNZ Freljord deck. It's going to be like an old like Ezreal Freljord deck, or just Trundle deck. And I like that it's just a control deck with the ELNUKS. You have this really big tempo turn 5. And this isn't really, I know I called it a concurrent timelines deck, but it's not a concurrent timelines deck. Like, when you think of what a concurrent timelines deck is, people think like, oh, you shove concurrent timelines and a bunch of units specifically for timelines, and those are actually like the worst type of timelines decks, because basically those decks, if you don't draw timelines, you're just playing a bunch of bad units. This deck, however, if you don't draw your timelines, you're still playing good units. Like, you have Ballistic Bot, you're still playing ELNUKS, which are like big bodies. You'll still get your Troop, which will summon a bunch of big things. You still get Sentry. And it just so happens that if you draw your timelines somewhere before like turn 5, then your Troop of ELNUKS is now like, you get an actual 5/5 body on top of all of the free ELNUKS you get with the 4/5. Volunteer Elnuk made Troop of ELNUKS, like this deck, possible. You could go Volunteer Elnuk, you put an Elnuk on top of your deck, in the top 6 cards of your deck. If you don't draw that Elnuk by turn 5 and you play this Troop of ELNUKS, you have at least 1 guaranteed hit. So you're getting at least 8 mana worth of stats from this 5/5, so, or from this 5-drop, so that's really nice. And then outside of that, it's just like your very standard Freljord PNZ late game, I'm gonna win with like Ezreal Trundle and grind you out style deck. And so this and the Zilean deck or mid-range decks, your Lurk is your aggro deck. I have 2 more decks. I have a control combo style deck, and then I have a super degenerate deck. So control combo style deck is in fact Karma Ezreal. It's back. Just so you know, it's I'm super excited. For those of you that don't know, everyone knows me as the aggro player. Actually, back in beta, I hit rank 2 and had an 80% win rate across like 300 games with Karma Ezreal. Like, I never lost with this deck. It was pretty scary, and ever since then, they like hard nerfed it. They nerfed Ezreal a bunch, they nerfed Karma, they nerfed Will of Ionia, they nerfed Shadow Assassin, they nerfed like every single card in Karma Ezreal. Well, now we have an okay Ezreal, we have a Karma that got reverted, we have Will of Ionia that got reverted, we have things like Boom Baboon and Claws of the Dragon to help us in the early game, like anti-aggro. Eye of the Dragon to help us against anti-aggro. It's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if this is going to be as nearly as strong as it used to be, but with all of the reverts happening, the only thing that hasn't gotten reverted out of this is basically old Ezreal used to deal 2 burst damage whenever you cast a spell. Now it still only does 1 burst damage if you cast a spell, and then it deals 2 damage if you target a unit. So it's going to be harder to set up those like uninteractive 20-0 burst lethals, but I think it's still strong enough to try. And it's still, at the end of the day, you're playing like Karma and then copying Get Exciteds and Mystic Shots. So like, you'll outvalue your opponent and win the game in the late game, no matter what, when it comes to this. So I'm super excited to try this. The number 1 question I get asked about this is, why am I playing Fallen Feline if, you know, it puts the crystal at the bottom 10 cards of your deck? There's a couple reasons. One, 1 mana 2/1 is a really good anti-aggro card, and Karma Ezreal struggles the most against aggro decks. So if you notice in this deck, we're playing 3 Eye of the Dragons anti-aggro, 2 Claws of the Dragons anti-aggro, 2 of the Ballistic Bots, or sorry, 3 Ballistic Bots anti-aggro, 3 Fallen Feline anti-aggro, and then 2 of these 2 mana 3/1s which are anti-aggro. So like, every unit in our deck is actually here to help us with these aggro matchups, and then all of the spells help us close the game out in the mid to late game. So that's why we're playing Fallen Feline. Is the first reason is 1 mana 2/1 insane against aggro. On top of that, even though it shuffles the Hexite Crystal to the bottom 10, if you predict 1 time, predict actually shuffles your entire deck afterwards. So if you go Fallen Feline, and then if you play a time trick at any point in time in the game, it will shuffle your deck, and then now this Hexite Crystal is anywhere, and you can draw it with things like Deep Meditation. You know, you're playing Karma Ezreal, so if you get to turn 10 and you play like a Rummage or a Deep Meditation, you're drawing 4 cards anyways. Like, the odds of you getting to this Hexite Crystal is really, really big. And then if you have a Hexite Crystal on turn 10 with Karma, then you now paid 2 mana to deal, like, Decimate. It's almost like, if you guys remember Go Hard. Go Hard was 1 mana, deal 5 damage to everything. If you get Hexite Crystal with Karma on turn 10, it turns into 2 mana, deal 4 damage to everything on your opponent's side. So it's super, super strong. And I'm really excited for Karma Ezreal. This is the deck I'm secretly most hyped about. I'm not telling everyone about that because I want people to think I'm lame. But I'm secretly super hyped about Karma Ezreal. And the very last deck I have for you is an Omega Degenerate deck. It's basically mono Zed Fiora. This isn't the fullest. By the time you guys get this video, all of these decks will have links in the description to the Mobalytics right here, so you can download them and then get the codes and stuff like that. by the time you guys get this video, I'll have the updated code, or the updated list, and basically the only units this deck plays is 3 Fiora, 3 Zed, and I'm going to put 3 Tasty Faithful for whenever you're playing against aggro. And then outside of those 9 units, you're playing only spells to keep them alive and buff them. The biggest spell being Field Promotion. Now that Field Promotion is out, you can give your Zed Field Promotion, and against Control, if they can't kill your Zed on turn 3, then you kind of just win the game. Against any type of like mid-range or aggro deck, you play like Fiora or Tasty Faithfolk, you buff up that Tasty Faithfolk, there's no way they're going to be able to beat that. If you give your Fiora Field Promotion and they start playing like really shitty little 1-drops, and this has Range Resolve, but again, in the updated version, I put Chain Vest. You Chain Vest your Fiora, you're now just like killing 1/1s and 2/2s for free over and over and over again. And then after that initial turn 3 spike, you have all of these buff spells like Standalone, Spirit's Refuge, 2 mana Twin Disciplines, which I don't know. Oh my god, that's the #1 card in this patch that I think is definitely not okay. 2 mana Twin Disciplines, which is crazy. Like, it's gonna be a wild ride for this Zed Fiora Tasty Faithful deck. So those are the 5 new decks to try with this new, what is it called? Rise of the Underworlds or something like that. The new patch that came out today, and I'm super excited for all of it. We're basically playing a brand new game. They nerfed almost every tier 1 deck down to tier 2 at the very least, so I'm excited to try all of these. I'm really excited to try this Lurk aggro deck, because you know me, I love aggro, and I also love new archetypes, so yeah, I'm super excited. So that's going to be it for the video. If you have any ideas for decks that you want me to cover in YouTube videos, or you want to see me play on my Twitch, go head over to twitch.tv/emotional, let me know. Make sure to join my Discord, links in the description below, leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that shit, and I'll see you in the next video.